Good morning, everyone. This morning I woke up with another positive message, in my mind and on my heart. I actually wake up with a positive message on my mind and in my heart every single day. But I don't always speak on it every single day. But I woke up with a message that I want to give to you this morning. First thing I want to speak on and say and put out there is how grateful I am for everything that's going on in my life right now, for all of the opportunities I'm being presented with right now. I'm grateful and thankful for all of the people that's coming into my life right now. I have some great people in my life. I have a great support team. I have a great team in general. I have a lot of great people around me. I only have people around me that are supporting me, and I've made a conscious effort to kind of distance myself from the people that don't support me. Some of them may be loved ones. Me, I love everybody, whether they support me or whether they don't. But I only make a point to be around and allow to be in my circle the people that actually are, wind in my sails. I won't allow people to be in my circle if I feel like that they are an anchor in my tail. Again, I love everyone, but if you're not pushing me, if you're not, motivating me, if you're not helping me, if you're not showing me, if you're not teaching me, if you're not instructing me and inspiring me, if you're not supporting me, then, again, I love you, but you can't be in my circle. But I'm not faced with that situation right now. I got a lot of beautiful people. I had a lot of beautiful relationships in my life right now. I think, one of the things I thought about this morning when I woke up is I think I've always had beautiful people and beautiful relationships and beautiful opportunities in my life, but a lot of the times it's difficult to see something for what it is. It's difficult to see what's going on around you if you're in the woods. It's difficult to understand what's going on around you if you just don't see a thing in a certain light. They say hindsight is 20/20. I think each and every one of us can look back on a certain point in our life and we can say, hey man, those were the good old days. Man, that's when things were good. Man, those were some beautiful times back in those days. But for me, I understand that right now, today is a day that I'm going to look back on years in the future and say, man, those were the good old days. Man, those were the good times. I understand that that's what's at hand right now, right in front of me. And so I'm very, very grateful for everything that's going on in my life right now. I'm very, very grateful for everything I'm being shown. I'm very grateful right now for everything that's coming into my circle. I think gratitude is something that, again, that's one of those things a lot of people say they have gratitude, but when I talk to people, a lot of the times the first thing that comes out of their mouth is not what they're grateful for. A lot of times what comes out of their mouth is what they're not grateful for. A lot of times what comes out of their mouth is something that they don't want to see and don't want to continue to show up in their life. A lot of the times what I hear people saying is what they don't like, what they're complaining about, and what's going wrong in their life. Even though they may say, I'm grateful, a lot of the times the first thing that they say, again, hey man, what's going on with you? Oh man, I'm hanging in there. That's about all you can do. And then I'll say something to them like, no, you can do better than that, can't you? You got a lot more going for you than that. Yeah. Well, you're right. I am grateful. And the second comment, the second thought is being grateful. With me this morning, especially every morning, the first thought was gratitude. The first thought was what I'm grateful for. So we all got things to be grateful for in our lives. But if we don't see it that way, if we don't understand it that way, we'll complain about the things that are beautiful to us right now. Like I said, today is the day that you'll look back on in the future and say those are the good times. It takes a special person to be able to realize an opportunity when they're in the midst of it. Anyone can look back and say I had an opportunity. It takes a special person to be able to look at what they got right in front of them and see it as the opportunity that it truly is. I call that consciousness, understanding something for what it really is and not what it appears to be. So understand that I'm grateful, but I got something else I want to say to you this morning, so I'm gonna get off of that just for a second. One thing that popped into my mind this morning was the subject of growth. The subject of growth. Everybody wants change. Everybody wants something different. Everybody wants something better. Change is automatic. Change is gonna happen. Change is not something that you have to want. It's gonna happen regardless. If you do things in a certain way, change is gonna happen. If you fail to do things in a certain way, change is still gonna happen. So change is constant. Growth is not. Growth is not. There's a saying that says no pain, no gain. And so for the people that want to grow and that's willing to go through the pain, growth is easy for them. But for the people that have adapted the idea and the thought process that, no pain, no gain, that's a fact. But you got to understand that, no pain, no gain. But there's also a saying, I'm going to coin it right now, no growth, continued pain. Right? It may hurt to grow. It may hurt to lift weights. It may hurt to run a mile. It may hurt to put yourself on a diet. It may hurt to adapt some new disciplines. It may hurt to let go of, what's going on in the past. But what hurts even more is holding on to what's holding you back. What hurts even more is holding on to what's holding you back. I think a lot of people in their lives have identified what's holding them back. But because of fear, because of whatever, lack of understanding, whatever it is, a lot of the times people will allow that to force them to stay where they are, even though they know that they need to make a change. As I was driving this morning, it was interesting because as I was driving, I constantly had to adjust the steering wheel from left to right to make sure that I stayed in the road. I picked a direction and I held the steering wheel in that direction, and I started to drift off of the road. So I had to, bring the wheel back to the left, and then I held the wheel straight, and next thing you know, I was drifting to the left. So I had to bring the wheel back to the right. The reason I bring that up to you this morning is because I think that's a philosophy that we should absolutely adapt when it comes to living life. Pick a direction, hold the steering wheel in the direction that you need to go in, but understand that you're going to have to make adjustments from time to time. Understand you're going to have to, turn the wheel to the right a little bit, or turn the wheel to the left a little bit, or slow down a little bit, or speed up a little bit. You're going to have to do those things. That don't mean that you change destinations. That don't mean that you change where you want to go. That just means that the first path that you picked to get you there, you had to make some adjustments to that plan throughout the way to make sure that you get to where you want to get to. And if you just hold that steering wheel in one spot and you refuse to, make an adjustment to the left or an adjustment to the right, you'll end up in the ditch every single time. I think that's something that we should adapt in life because it's the same exact way. And, some people have picked a direction, they're holding the steering wheel in a direction, and they know that they can see the car going off the road, they can see it going in the ditch, but because of fear for what's going to happen when they adjust the steering wheel back to the left, they continue to hold the steering wheel to the right, in a certain direction and end up in a ditch. You got to understand that, it's about adjusting. It's not about changing your destination. It's just about identifying the quickest path to get to where you're trying to get to where you're trying to get to. Same thing you got to do as far as driving is the same thing you got to do in life. I was reading something the other day that said that a space shuttle on a 1,000,000-mile journey from Earth to the moon, a 1,000,000-mile journey, the space shuttle is correcting its own course every second, several times every second. It's making an adjustment. It picks a path to go this way, and then in a second it realizes that if it continues to go that way, it's not going to end up at the moon. So it has to make an adjustment to go back this way, and then it realizes in another second that if I continue that way, then I'm not going to end up at the moon. So it's this constant adjustment back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and just by doing that, that space shuttle is actually able to get exactly to where they want it to get to, even though it's off track 90% of the time. And a lot of times we as people, we feel like when we off track that we're not going to arrive at our destination. There's nothing wrong with being off track. You're going to be off track. It goes against the laws of nature not to be off track. So, but understand, once you go a few feet and you say, okay, well, I'm going in the right direction still, but my trajectory is not quite right. Let me adjust back to the left. If you've ever shot a gun before, I shot a gun at a shooting range, and it was funny because the first time I did it, I put the target about 30 or 40 or maybe 30 feet away, and I just unloaded a clip on that thing, and then I brought the target back up to me and realized that not one bullet hit the target, and I was like, where did the bullets go to? And it was interesting because the guy explained to me of trajectory. Something may start off going just slightly to the left or to the right, but in 50 yards or 100 yards it's way off course. As people, we can adjust our course in the middle of our journey. But if we don't adjust our course, then we'll end up light years from the moon. We won't hit our target. We'll be aiming right at it, and when we look at the target, we'll say, darn, there's no bullet holes in there whatsoever. So you got to be willing to adjust. You got to be willing sometimes to switch your trajectory just a little bit. Not sometimes, all the time. Because, as I said, you're just not gonna. If you continue going in one direction, you're not gonna get there. It requires adjustments, and it requires a constant evaluation, if you will, of where you are. And a lot of people don't really want to take the time to evaluate their situation, figure out what's working, figure out what's not working, shave off what's not working, do more of what's working. All right? All you got to do, and how that applies in life, is identify some new disciplines for the future and get rid of and correct some of your errors from the past, and constantly be in that mode of correction and adjusting, and the whole time you're getting closer and closer to your goal. So keep that in mind with you as you go throughout your day. It's a beautiful day. Embrace it as a beautiful day. Be willing to adjust to what's going on around you. Don't pick a different destination, but if you got to slow down, if you got to speed up, if you got to go to the left just a little bit or to the right just a little bit, that's the way that you get to where you want to get to. So, I love you. I got to go. I actually spoke for a lot longer than I wanted to today, but I hope everyone has a beautiful day. Hope everyone has a beautiful weekend. Me personally, I don't believe in weekends. I believe in strong ends. So I hope everyone has a good Saturday and Sunday. This is Maurice Bay. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, click the like button, click the share button. I definitely want to get this message out there. Look me up on Facebook if you don't know me. Add me as a friend, send me a friend request, and again, I love everyone, and peace.